All right, so we're recording. Okay, everybody. So welcome to this week's episode of the Weekly Wealth Podcast. And today we have a colleague of mine, Steve Tolleson, who's also a financial advisor at Parallel Financial. And while being a financial advisor is a pretty cool job, Steve had the world's coolest job prior to becoming a financial advisor. So, hey, Steve, how you doing? And tell us about your former life before being a financial advisor and what you did for a living.
Yeah, thanks, David. Thanks for having me on. Prior to becoming a partner and an advisor here at Parallel Financial, I was fortunate enough to play professional baseball for 12 years. In that period of time, I was able to play in the major leagues for parts of 6 seasons, and got to meet lots of very, very different people, a lot of really cool people, and a lot of great lifelong experiences that I'll never forget. And I feel like a lot of what I did in sports prepared me for the world that I'm in now. And some people may ask, how did baseball prepare you to be a financial advisor? Well, doing what both you and I do now, David, we manage teams, we manage with people, and we manage emotions. And, in sports, you have to work with the team, and, there's ups and downs that creates a wide range of emotions. And, the best players in time are the people that can kind of weed out all the noise of what's going on and stick to their plan, and the end results follow with that.
Yeah. So for guys that are not superstars, is the major leagues just like a grind like you would think it is? Just, because I guess you probably didn't, make tens of millions of dollars. So, was it fun? Was it rough? Was it a grind? What was it?
Well, it was always fun for me. It was a lifetime dream. I probably like baseball more than most. And for that reason, I never had a day that I didn't really want to go to the ballpark. But there is definitely a grind in it. Yeah, you're right. I never was a person that was fortunate enough to make tens of millions of dollars while I played. I had to fight and claw for every at bat in the major leagues that I had, and every inning played on defense, and persistency and hard work and hustle, and all those things. While you're young, it's easy to wake up and do. When you kind of get into your 30s and your body starts aching, then the grind sets in, and it becomes more of a job. But the determination to be good at what you do and compete at a high level is kind of what always kept pushing me.
And do the superstars on a team, do they talk to and associate with the guy that's just kind of been on the team for part of the year and is up and down from the minors, or do you not really get to associate with the big names?
No, depends on who they are. Depends on their personalities.
Okay.
Every team that I played on would have a quote unquote superstar. Most of them, their guard's completely down. They don't
really cool.
They don't have a reason to not want you to be good friends with them and a part of the team. So those are normally the guys on the best teams. Those are normally the guys that the first people that bring you in and help you try to feel comfortable, because their motives are only one thing, and it's to win. And if you're somebody that can help them win, then they're going to do everything they can to make you feel comfortable and part of the team, and go from there.
Sure. No, that's really interesting. That's fascinating. So you work with mostly high net worth individuals and business owners, and really, I've never seen anybody who really appears to dedicate so much to their clients, and I've always admired that about you. We were talking earlier about how you can save and time for your clients, and how your clients' time is so valuable. What is it about time, and how do you help clients, high net worth people, to save time with their finances?
Right. So that to me, that's one of the biggest value adds that you and I can bring to the table for somebody. When you're working with a high net worth individual, whether they're a business owner or they're an athlete, the reason they're a high net worth individual is they're very successful in what they do. And, to be successful in what you do, it takes hard work. It doesn't just happen. It doesn't, it's not an 8 to 5 deal. It's not a, 4-day weekends. It's a it's a grind. And, when you're a business owner and you're in the grind, or you're an athlete and you're in the grind, to be the absolute best at what you do, you have to be in the trenches doing what you do. And to think that you can spend all of your time and energy growing your business or training for the profession that you're in, and then pay the amount of attention that needs to be put towards managing your total financial picture, there's not enough hours in the day.
Sure.
And, that's why, people like us can really step in and add value. When you're a high net worth individual, you partner with people that you think are going to create value, and people that you can trust. And, me being in that situation as a player early on in my career, I didn't have time to focus on what the market was doing and why company ABC is doing better than company, doing better than another company. And, for that reason, you hire people to help you with that. And the people that are able to not micromanage and step back and let us do what we do are normally the people that reap the benefits.
Right. Well, and if you think about it, if you're a business owner, and let's say you own a franchise, and you own 20 franchise locations, you are pulled in so many different directions just for business, human resources and acquisitions and everything else. And like you said, it would be very, very difficult to also have the time and energy to manage your own finances. And that's where hiring an advisor like yourself or myself is really in our best interests. And the other thing that we speak a lot at Parallel Financial, and I know that our chief investment officer has written some literature on it, is emotions. Do you find that money and finances is an emotional topic for your clients, and do you find that you have to help them to manage their emotions with regard to decisions?
Absolutely. It's the second hardest part of our job. Dealing with money is different with every individual, or family. Different people have different feelings towards it. But with that, being able to understand who you're working with on a personal level allows us to adjust to how each person would handle the emotions or ups and downs in a market. When I'm meeting with a prospective client in our first couple meetings, I'm trying to help them understand what's going to come. By no means, shape, or form would I ever say, hey, our portfolios are going to return any certain number, but I can guarantee that there will be a large correction. You will be part of it. And how you react to that will completely change your financial picture. If you take it in stride as if you're in the shopping mall and things are on sale, and now you're going out to add, then that's one way of doing it. Or if you're of the mindset, I can't lose this amount of money, the markets are down 20%, a global pandemic is happening right now, I need to sit on the sidelines and just wait. I'm very straightforward with the prospective clients saying, look, we're not the right people for you, because that's a losing proposition, and trying to move in and out of the markets based on emotional decisions doesn't work.
Sure. Yeah, there's a lot of statistics on timing in and out is just about impossible to do correctly. Have you ever found yourself, and I know that I have for sure, being the emotional police between spouses in meetings? Because obviously we all feel differently about money. Men and women are different anyway, and then when you add money in there, it becomes a crazy situation, and it certainly, you almost become a marriage counselor in some sense. Have you ever found that?
Absolutely. In rare circumstances, are we dealing with a family where the wife is super aggressive and the husband is not. It's normally the opposite for whatever reason that is. I will say that at least more recently, a lot of the decision making that I've dealt with clients have been with the wife instead of the husband. The husband is normally the business owner that's in the weeds of everything, and the wife is someone that's helping managing the relationships outside of the business. And it's kind of been a unique situation where I don't want to feel like I'm sharing information with one and not the other, or I don't ever want to feel like I'm teaming up and siding with one side of the couple versus the other. So, I mean, in a lot of those situations, I try to create open conversation. I try to help guide the conversations to end at the client sharing exactly what they're feeling and wanting, so that it's not as if I'm asking them to do X, Y, or Z. And, it is a different dynamic.
It is. It can be, for sure. So one of the stories that I always, think about when I'm talking about financial advising is, and I'm sure this happens to you as well. Maybe you're at a Christmas party or at a social event and somebody asks you, what do? You say, I'm a financial advisor. And they say, oh, wow. If I gave you $300,000 to invest right now, where would you put it? And, yeah, my answer always is, I have no idea. I don't know anything about you. I don't know. Maybe you should pay off debt. I have no idea. So until we had a series of conversations, I couldn't make any recommendations at all. So I say that to say that the expertise that UI and our teams bring to the table is pretty valuable. So what are some of the areas in addition to investing? Because we know that, a client that has a retirement account, you're going to figure out ways to invest that money that makes sense for them. But what are some of the other areas that you, as a really strong financial advisor, work with clients?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because so many of my clients are business owners, we run across, as I know you're seeing also, a lot of the same problems. Completely different businesses, business owner A and business owner B could not be more different, but yet they still deal with all the same headaches. Multiply that by 30 or 40 clients, you start figuring out how to fix the headache. You start trying to figure out what's the medicine to make this problem go away. And
so what are the most common headaches that you're seeing from your clients that you've figured out how to solve?
Right. So I would say 2 years ago, overwhelmingly, how do we keep our good employees from being poached from our competitors? You've different lines of businesses, the economy's growing, people are trying to hire qualified people. There's not enough qualified people. So they start poaching from competitors. And so we had quite a few business owners that were losing employees that they did not want to lose. So we started working on how to structure, vesting contracts to put golden handcuffs on certain individuals, which kind of led more to an estate planning and things of that nature. So there was a lot of creative talk on best practices and how to do that. Other challenges were health insurance. Working with business owners,
But it's called the Affordable Care Act. So they must have been doing something wrong, because the politicians can't lie, can they?
No, they cannot.
Yeah.
They cannot. It's affordable to very few people. Being a business owner, just like you, I don't use Obamacare. I looked for alternate sources of health insurance, just because, for a growing family, an extremely high deductible and $12,000 to $13,000 or $1,200 to $1,300 monthly payments is tough. And so you spread that out over, 50 employees or 100 employees or 300 employees, that number keeps growing. And then on an annual basis, getting large increases. So,
now you have one corporate client, and you saved them, or were able to point them in a direction to save. It was 6 digits times a little bit, wasn't it, on their health insurance premiums?
Yeah, that first year we had 2 different local companies that we work with. One ended up saving about $275,000, and one saved $350,000. Same plan. The plan was just audited at a level using actuarial data.
So I'm going to go out on the limb and say that your financial advisor fee was not $350,000. So they probably came well ahead out of that deal, huh? Even though, you don't work for free, but with that savings, you definitely put them in a better position, didn't you?
Yeah, no, that was their net savings.
Sure.
It was just an understanding that I was expecting that to go into their investment account, and that's 100% margin business for them. It was
Sure.
it just showed up, and that was 3 years ago. Both of those companies have grown significantly, and their health insurance premiums have gone down on an annual basis. So that 350 3 years ago multiplied again, 350 again. Last year, 350 again. I mean, that's a compounding number that if it's not compounding and it's going the other way after 10 to 12 years of steady increases, then their total savings is through the roof.
Right. And I think the lesson there is without proper advising and without proper counsel, many businesses will just accept the fact that XYZ problem is just what it is and there's no way to solve it. But when you have a good advisor, you talk about some of your struggles, you talk about your problems, and if it's possible to solve, the advisor and his or her team go back and solve it for you. And in this case, it was possible to solve. So
that's right. I mean, so many people are simply sold things. At every turn, it's someone trying to sell them this, or someone trying to get them to buy this insurance, or someone trying to get them to do this. And, we are compensated on various lines of business that we help with, but in no way, shape, or form is there ever a sale. It's sitting down, it's understanding the problem, and then it's us doing the due diligence of understanding what the landscape of solutions look like. And then we hone down that landscape to what fits the business owner. So we're doing all the heavy lifting. We're doing all the various meetings with the different groups. And then when we by the time we're actually sitting down to garner an hour of time from the actual business owner and our client, one, they fully trust us, but then two, it's black and white because, the numbers are there at the end of the day, and it's, hey, look, if we pivot and do this, this is the savings. If we stay where we are, this is what that continues to look like. What do you want to do?
right.
And it's been, at least the healthcare side of it, never in a million years did I ever think that I would have anything to do with healthcare, but it was such a large problem for so many of our clients. And it's in our best interest, meaning we manage money for the business owner. If our portfolios are doing well, but then we're creating value outside the portfolio. I mean, there were years that the savings in healthcare trumped the returns in the portfolio. I mean, how many advisors can say that?
Yeah. And do you have I know that you've done some work creatively with helping high earners with taxes. Can you, just briefly give kind of a Cliff Notes version of how you do that?
Right. So, I mean, same deal. I mean, my goal working with the client is to add value outside the portfolio. The portfolio, Greg, is going to do what it's going to do. From the tax side of things, based on income and AGI, there are governmental programs that are widely available if you know about them and you know how to access them. And then you work with a team of experts, meaning your personal CPA, an advisory group like us. We evaluate what numbers look like. And if it's a situation where we can produce value, then we sit down and we dig in a little bit deeper. But it's a great way to let the money you would simply be given the government to fuel an investment that's going to pay you dividends for many years in the future. So it's no new money out of pocket, and it's a unique program that was put in directly by the government. And we partner with another firm, another group that's 100% of what they do. And it's always my goal, whether it's health insurance, whether it's tax, any line of business involved around money, like it would not be fair for our client or for us to think that we're going to be experts at all the above. So we bring in a secondary party that's their pure focus.
No, that's awesome. And I have some experience with some of these, and what it really comes down to is financial advisors generally are paid based on, how many assets they're managing. But from what it sounds like in a few examples, the clients that are, they're paying you a fee, but they're getting so much back in actual concrete return value, whether it would have been in tax savings or in you facilitated health insurance savings, that it really seems like a no-brainer for sure. So for someone looking for a financial advisor, I mean, what should the average person be looking for in a financial advisor?
In my opinion, working with somebody that's independent, that can adjust with the times. I mean, the world we live in is changing so fast.
You remember, like 3 months ago, you and I would have been able to shake hands,
Yeah.
I mean, but now, not anymore.
What we do is changing so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Technology is changing so fast. The people that say, hey, I'm just going to put it in an index fund and I'm not going to look at it. Great. I can show you data that we actually just produced a new video recently. That I can show you data where you're telling me that that's what you're going to do, but that's not what you're doing. Right. You're letting the emotional side take over, and those numbers are scary. And, the fee that we charge to manage assets is dwarfed by the value that we create, not just inside the portfolios, but outside the portfolios, to the extent that, I would think, and I don't want to speak for my clients, and, I value them as much as they value me, I hope. I don't think that any of them would ever consider looking elsewhere because of the scope of value that we're able to bring to the table, simply because we're independent. And we're not governed by a large bank or entity that says, hey, look, this is your box, stay in your box, because the world changes. I mean, coronavirus changed everything.
Sure.
October is going to look very different than
it is.
July.
It is. And as an advisor, I know that there are certain financial principles that I would just hold with a tight hand, that if you're my client, you need to do this. So let's say, you're younger and you have young kids, you need to have life insurance. I mean, we're not going to argue. It's just, you need to have it. But then there are other areas where there's kind of some discretion. So which type of life insurance? Maybe we can debate on that a little bit. There are areas where there's some discretion. So when, like you and I, we work for an independent firm, there's no pressure to sell this type of life insurance or that type or this investment or that investment. The pressure is do what's right for the client, and that's it. And that's the fiduciary, the guidelines that we follow. And that's one of the reasons I love what I do as well. And I chose Parallel Financial for sure. So, well, good deal. Well, Steve, I enjoyed this chat. If anybody wanted to get in touch with you, how can they reach you?
Yeah, I mean, so you can reach me at Steve at Parallel Financial, or reach out to David. We work together. We're part of Parallel Financial, independent advisory firm, really kind of growing up and down the East Coast at this point. So it's been an exciting 6 years. Getting to meet the new advisors that we've brought on, but also, having the pedal down and growing our business is, it's all been fun. So you can reach us at parallel.com or Steve at Parallel Financial. Perfect.
Good deal. Well, I appreciate this, and let's try to get together in a couple of weeks, and let's maybe dig in a little bit deeper to any one of those topics, and just hit them a little deeper, as opposed to the 30,000 foot level that we did today. So.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
Thanks, David.
Good deal.